are based upon these pictures and the war theme. This disc, to Lehi, was a curious circle. To Ezekiel and Daniel, a rolling book scored with marks inscribed within. To John, a book written within and from the backside. In ancient Egypt as the Aten sun disk, and in India as the discus. Ancient maps of the known world plus the destiny wheel all show this shape and were based upon seeing this CD-ROM. This is its main menu screen having 7 doorways. The return arrow takes us back to the start screen, where another active icon is on the water. Nostradamus depicts them as 8 sections on the wheel, the Babylonians as 7 above the water and 1 on the water, while the 6 civilizations are depicted on the Tibetan world map as 6 segments. The map is depicted on the disc itself, so when they are combined, the origin of the known lands of the world map becomes obvious and solves that map mystery. A CD-ROM is basically a book with the contents written within, and when it is loaded, it rotates, literally a rolling book. It is scored with marks, inscribed within the layers of plastic, and read from the backside by a laser beam. How to open this CD-ROM, having the 7 doorways, is documented by John. Go to the root directory and click on the number of the file showing 144,000. He then notes seeing 12 lots of 12000 numbers. As part of the 2 tablets of testimony story, Moses reports boards, bars, sockets, pins and cords. The keyboard as the table of shewbread, the CD tray as the mercy seat and the altar, the flap that hides the CD tray as the veil of covering and the hanging door, and that associated with this CD tray are vessels, described as charges of silver, with this side as a silver bowl and the hollowed out side a spoon. He states the measurements of the CD case as 130 wide, and for this side's end thickness 7, and on this side the width is 12, the thickness 10, with the hollow itself 120. The origin of the vessels of the altar offerings story has been solved. Regarding this altar, similar to the Egyptian descriptions, Nostradamus describes that the disc, by itself, rests on the saddle in the air. This negates the bronze tripod theory and solves another mystery. Regarding the computer's mouse that the Egyptians depicted and called the hand snake staff, Mose also reports using this same hand snake staff, while Nostradamus called it a wand in hand. Lord Ganesha used a mouse to obtain his wisdom and knowledge from the CD-ROM. Compared to the size of a mouse and looking like a snake or a scarab beetle, a turtle also fits in the hand. Combine it with the disc as the known world map, and the origin of the turtle world myth is solved. The menu structure for this CD-ROM begins at the start void screen. Then we literally wander around the desert as each active icon is selected in turn. Here are those main icons, their subheadings and common icons. Moses, while in the wilderness, counted them and perceived the journey as taking 40 years. In a Buddhist tradition, these menu items were counted and were noted as totaling 37. In a Jewish tradition, these menu items were counted and were called 32 paths of wisdom. A Hindu tradition says there are 21 zones. The earth is the 7th from the top. When you return to the void screen and click the help icon, literally above the earth in the help section are 6 white heavenly screens. And below the map, following each of the 7 icons, are a series of 7 netherworlds. and below the 7th netherworld are 7 hells, totaling 21 zones. The mystery of this Hindu universe legend has been solved. Our report summarises over 30 ancient accounts of encounters with computer technology and the CD-ROMs. The resource book referenced in the previous video contained information about time travel in the Book of Mormon, specifically 2 cases: Lehi's encounter with 24 data disks, and Smith's multiple encounters with a time traveller and 2 CD-ROMs. All this generated questions, especially this mid-1800s picture of Smith holding 2 clear plastic CD cases before plastic was invented. This book addresses these questions and answers over 20 concerns submitted by the public. This CD-ROM opens with a menu screen. Selecting items brings up further submenus. Moses perceived it as a garden, and in the middle he saw the Tree of Knowledge icon. King Nebuchadnezzar also reports seeing this tree in the middle of the screen. The Tree of Knowledge mystery has been solved. Selecting the tree goes to its menu page, and following this path brings us to the Persian Gulf War information. Another click brings up this video. After King Nebuchadnezzar watched it, he stated, "I saw a watcher." When Moses watched it, he had questions about these pictures. When he was told that Iraq and Kuwait are where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers flow through the plain of Eden, he wrote it down as, "Flowing out of Eden are the Tigris and the Euphrates river." The location of Eden mystery has been solved. To Moses, from the Nile River across to the plain of Eden was part of the Egyptian Empire. Thus he perceived the president of Iraq as a king or pharaoh within Egypt. When he was told that Iraq attacked Kuwait and would not leave, he reported it as, "The king of Egypt will not let you go." Here he asked how to sound this word, being Yoen, so he wrote it down how he heard it, as Yoen. Next, for this person, we need to know that the word angel simply meant a messenger. Moses was told that this person, below the orange and red countries, was the leader of the Yoen war forces, and in the middle is President Bush, who was burning with anger. Moses wrote about all this as the messenger of the Yoen appeared in a flame of fire, and out of the middle is Bush, who was burning with fiery anger. The origin of the burning bush mystery has been solved. Regarding this sequence on the video that explains 7 days of airstrikes passing over Iraq that stopped their own air force from rising, Moses reports it as the 7 days of Passover. The Passover mystery has been solved. When Moses asked for more war information, he was told of specific events from these 2 history books. Our report explains that Passover and Exodus are war events from this CD-ROM, and from these 2 books are described the census, 15 specific events in the Book of Judges, and a preview of a year of war events in the Book of Kings. Pictures from this CD-ROM are described by Daniel. He reports seeing the winds of the windrow's compass in the sky above the sea, the 4 animal icons, the lion. Then when selecting it, the map disappeared and a standing man appeared. Next came a bear, raised up, with 3 ribs in its mouth, between its teeth. Then a leopard, 4 birds with wings fully opened, and the heads of 4 fishermen. Next came strong oxen as their feet trampled the ground, and among them was a man, with open eyes and an open mouth. Daniel's Four Beasts mystery has been solved. From these two CD-ROMs, information on these pages are reported. King Nebuchadnezzar was shown that his reign coincides with the current Roman monarchy, and after him comes the Roman Republic, then a third, the Roman Empire, that ruled all around the Mediterranean, and the fourth being the Holy Roman Catholic Church, which is the world religion later reported in chapter 7, with the 10 kings that arise being the 10 listed Roman leaders from the history section. The mystery of Daniel's fourth kingdom has been solved. Our report explains that after seeing the knowledge tree and the missiles falling from this CD-ROM, the Gulf War was described, religiously known as the End Time War mystery. Many images from this CD-ROM are described, for example, entering the lion's den and the 3 men in the furnace. Pictures from this CD-ROM are described by John in the New Testament. He explains that to open this book with 7 seals on its menu page, from the root directory, you have to select the seal with the number 144,000. Then on screen, in the middle, with 4 beasts, stood a lamb, as it had been slain, which looks like a shape in the clouds, with its front and rear legs tied together. The lamb is sacrificed and the book with 7 seal mysteries have been solved. Then this lamb opened one of the seals, being one of the 4 beasts. Behind it, John saw a cavalry's white horse whose rider had a bow and arrows and wore a cap. Selecting this image takes us to the war and fighting chapter, where we see a red horse, a great sword, a black horse whose rider had a set of scales in his hand, and a pale horse whose rider looks like the grim reaper of death. The mystery of the 4 horsemen have been solved. Pictures from this astronomical CD-ROM are described by John, with the dates of a comet and when it impacted Jupiter being dated references to other described events, such as the mystery of Michael, dating to 1992. It has now been solved. Our commentary report explains that after seeing the knowledge tree and the tanks moving like locusts from this CD-ROM, the Gulf War was described, religiously known as the End Time War mystery. Many other images from this CD-ROM are also described. Nostradamus named these 2 CD-ROMs as the Wheel of Destiny of Nations and the Wheel of Time, and drew pictures of them. When the Queen of France saw them and a computer, she called them magic circles and a magic mirror. Nostradamus called the mouse and cable the wand in hand, and explained that a disc sits alone and is placed on the saddle in the air, and that from the emptiness he saw divine faces, then a slight flame, being the windrose that he called a whirlwind, and when the mouse is put in the middle of its branches, next comes the same faces sitting on the earth. The mystery of the apparatus used by Nostradamus has been solved. Regarding this CD-ROM, Nostradamus explains that from this green disc, once it is placed into the lofty seat and the war video runs, he saw soldiers in the field. The Queen of France reported that she saw her 3 sons in the magic mirror. She did. Our report explains these findings and reveals where in his other works he left messages about a person in October 2000 and the Great Translation, which unlocks a shut-up secret, being the origins of religion. He is a northeastern Australian middle-class man named Pegg, born Ron, from Townsville, who is honest,